You guys heard anything about a little movie called Star Wars? Alright guys, so here's the deal. This movie came out about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit less than 2 weeks ago, but I really wanted to see this movie a second time to really get a good perception and a good thought process on what I was going to say in this review. Now, before I get into it, I do want to point out, if you haven't seen the movie, I do recommend you seeing it before you watch this review. I'm not going to go too far into spoilers territory. However, there are surprises that I don't want to spoil just by connecting the dots, you know? So I really want you guys to see this movie before you actually watch this review. If you guys don't care, then by all means go ahead and watch this video and enjoy my opinion. But if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. It's such an amazing movie. It was really well done. What they spent on making this movie was worth it, and it's definitely going to pave the way for the next movie. So first off, we're going to go into 4 different categories. There's going to be a category on details, plot, the characters, and then my overall thought and what score I give it will be the last category. Alright guys, so the first thing that I want to attack on this video will be the commitment to details that Rian Johnson puts into this film. From the initial pan down from the credits at the beginning to the very end fadeaway cutout to the end credits at the end, Rian Johnson puts so much work into the details of the film that it will please both new and old Star Wars fans. Well, that's the hope, at least, right? But from when it fades out at the beginning to the first scene of the movie, you're just seeing where it's taking us, and it's so apparent, and it's just so smooth that you just go with it, and you're just so happy with how it starts out. And at the very end, with everything that happens throughout the movie, you're satisfied with this ending, and it works. It just all blends together. Now, in the middle of the movie, you have different scenes in different parts of the galaxy, but each part of the galaxy has its own attention to each detail in little snippets here and there that are just so well done and smooth that it just makes the film work. Now, I know there are people that don't like the movie, but I also believe that there is a brand new Star Wars film that we haven't seen before, and that change is good. And this is going to pave the way for future Star Wars films and future Star Wars directors. Now, I want to talk about a little bit, won't go too much into spoiler territory, I'm going to try to stay away, but at the very beginning, we see Luke and Rey meeting for the first time, and we see Luke's hand grabbing the lightsaber, and this is something I noticed the second time coming around. But we see his lightsaber, and we see his metal hand, which we haven't really seen before except for a little bit in Force Awakens. But it's not just a metal clump that's in the form of a hand. It's an actual piece of machinery where you can see all the parts that move around inside of it, and it's not just something that was just thrown in there. It's something that was created. It was a really cool thing to see instead of just something that was easy and could have been done in 5 minutes. And then we're going to move on to the island where we see these creatures, and we've seen creatures in the Star Wars universe before, but these guys, they look exactly the same as the ones that would have been in episodes 4, 5, and 6. Of course, they've been modified and refined so that they are more contemporary to our eyes. But that's the best thing about this movie, is that it's not just your average Star Wars movie. It's contemporized. I think that's a word. I'm going to make it a word. It's contemporized to fit our world today instead of something that would have been normal or what we would have seen maybe 10, 15 years ago. So with that, I'm actually going to move on to plot, because the plot is also contemporized in the way that this is not your average Star Wars film. You don't just have your dark side and your light side. You have other things that are conflicting each character in a different way, and each character has their own goal in mind. But they all are connected somehow, and you'll see it if you've seen the movie. And it's very well blended together that it works very smoothly. And there are a lot of people that are very torn about this film and what it's been doing with this movie and what it's doing to the universe. But it's also very important to remember the fact that we fear change. And if we don't change, if we don't evolve, we're never going to be able to move forward. And this is something that Rian Johnson is doing very well, and this is why he's getting a whole trilogy to himself after episode 9 is over. And it's because he can move this universe forward into a new era, into something new that we haven't seen before. And a lot of people want to see new parts of the galaxy, and we're probably going to see that after we get through episode 9. But right now, this universe with Rey, with Finn, with Luke, with Leia, with Poe. With this movie, we are seeing something new. We are seeing something with characters from the past and the present coming together, working together, and being able to solve their problems using the knowledge that each one can contribute. Now with that, I'm going to move on to the characters. Now if you remember from each Star Wars trilogy, maybe not so much the prequels, but even then we still have a trio of characters. We have, from 1, 2, 3, we have Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme. She's not really involved in the story too much, but she's very important to Anakin's development as a character. At least in episode 3 she is. And then in episode 4, 5, 6 we have Luke, Leia, and Han. Again, we have boy, boy, girl. And if we come to the trilogy we have now, you have Finn, Poe, and Rey. And guess what? Boy, boy, girl. Now I'm not saying that there's a trio in every single Star Wars trilogy and it's going to be a boy, boy, and a girl, but it's what we're seeing so far. And I feel like that's the theme and a constant that we're going to have in the movie that will keep us rooted to the original films. Now we have Poe, Finn, and Rey, and each character is very important in their own mission. Each character has an arc throughout this movie, and then they all come together at the very end, and when we see the three meet all together for the first time, it's a collaboration of each character's efforts and each actor's efforts to make this film what it is. And we see the connective tissue between how Luke, Leia, and Han were in episodes 4, 5, 6, and we see that in what we have now in Poe, Finn, and Rey. And it's a new story, but it's still the old story, and it's all connected somehow. It's a lot to wrap your mind around, but when you have a universe this large, you kind of have to be able to expand your mind a little bit and figure out how each character can relate to something from the past. And that's something Rian Johnson does really well in this movie. I know a lot of people think that he's rehashing episode 5, but I believe that instead of rehashing, he's just keeping the universe rooted to its original films. And that's an okay thing to do, especially when you have a new movie where you're taking a lot of risks like this. But opinions are opinions, and that's fine. I'm going to have mine, other people will have theirs, and that's an okay thing to have. So for now, let's just keep it civil, and hopefully we can all get along. But Rian Johnson is just doing a phenomenal job, and I'm really excited for what he's going to bring after episode 9 is over and we get the new trilogy of Star Wars movies. So I went over the plot and the details and the characters in the movie, so I'm just going to go ahead and give my overall thought of the movie and my final score. Overall thought, I really enjoyed this movie enough to see it a second time, and I enjoy what's going on in the universe and how it's being changed. I'm not as offended or mad about what Rian Johnson is doing as other fans might be. Maybe I'm just not hardcore enough, but I also think that in order to move forward in the film or in just the film industry, we need to be able to take risks and make changes. And we see this in films all the time, not just in Star Wars or big franchises. I think that once we get the final episode of this trilogy and then we get to more movies, we're gonna see a lot of more change, and it's gonna have a lot of rewards, and it's gonna be an okay thing to have. My overall score of this movie is going to be, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I liked Force Awakens just a little bit more, but I am a guy that kind of likes more fun-filled energy movies, and Force Awakens definitely has that. So Force Awakens definitely is going to be a higher ranking movie on my list. but this one's not far behind. I really enjoyed what's going on in this movie and what's happening, and I can't wait to see what's next. But, guys, it's a very controversial topic when we get into the film and talking about universes as big as Star Wars. So please let me know what you think of this movie, what you just think of everything that's happening within the Star Wars universe right now, from any standalone movies or spin-offs to the actual episodes that we're getting. And then let me know what you guys think of me and my opinions, and if they're valid or not. If you agree, great. If you don't, don't be too mean, but I'll take it. Constructive criticism is best. So please go ahead and like and subscribe to my videos and my channel, and we're going to see you guys next time. Peace out.